Rishi in Illinois, what do you think of pet stocks like Zoetis? Zoetis.
I love Zoetis. It's not cheap. It's trading at 37 times forward estimates, and it's also up 42% from its lows. So I would wait to see a pullback, but I think you can see upper single-digit revenue growth for the foreseeable future. I think when we normalize, you'll see double-digit earnings. They have margin expansion. And oh, by the way, the FDA just approved a pill that prevents parasites for dogs for this company. And it's a $4 billion market. So I think that there's a lot of runway for this company. So on weakness, I'd buy it, though.
Okay. Jim Lebenthal, coming to you. Dave in Florida, Goldman Sachs. What to do?
Yeah, I think this is a quality long-term franchise. I think the price is right here, still below book value. Throughout this year, they'll make money, so the book value should go up. They're putting 1MD behind it. You know, we're not talking about that anymore. This is an easy own within the financial space.
Okay. John Najarian, to you from Verpartop. Enphase Energy, ENPH.
Scott, would you believe that this one is actually higher on the year? I mean, Enphase is almost $45 a share. It's basically energy for your home. And it's not Tesla. It doesn't have that brand and the Musk magic. But nonetheless, the fact that these guys have made as big an inroad as they have already, and that the stock is rewarding investors that have believed in it, I think you stick with it.
Okay. UPS. Should I add UPS right now?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually would. You have to have patience. The quarter was disappointing only because they've got exposure to the small and medium business segment, right? So if you believe that we're going to gradually reopen and then eventually we totally reopen, their business, their cash flow, their earnings should come back. In the meantime, the stock's down 25% from its high. It has a 4.3% yield. It trades at 13 times forward estimates. By the way, that yield is very well covered, very strong balance sheet. So I like this one a lot. This is the one I've actually been nibbling on most recently.
Okay, Jimmy, Mike in Utah. Thoughts on starting a position in Boeing?
Yeah, I think the key word there is starting, meaning don't get heavy in the name right now. The flow of news is heavy in both the positive and negative direction. The financing from Friday takes near-term risk off the table, but still the 737 MAX issue looms out there. You know, the plane, they wanted to fly it in May. That's not going to happen. Maybe August. In the meantime, orders are going to be canceled. So I would dibble here, because long-term, this is a great investment, but you don't have to load the boat. Take your time over the coming months.
John Najarian, Martin in Palm Beach, Florida. What's your short and long-term outlook for FireEye?
Short and long-term are both the same, Scott. I like this one, FEYE. We've seen upside call buying in May and June, Scott. I have owned it. I am not in it presently, but I would love to get back into FireEye. All I need is a little more oomph as far as institutional support for that, and then I'd jump back in.
Bryn, to you from Patty in Glenview, Illinois. Are you a buyer of any companies reporting earnings this week?
Well, I own Square and PayPal. I own Square in the mid-50s. I'm not a big fan of buying stocks if you don't own them the day before earnings, because in these days you can get a plus 10 or minus 10 on most basic things. I'm a long-term bull on Square. I think it's a misunderstood stock. I will say next year they're going to roll out Square Financial Services. They got approval to be a bank, and so I think they have multiple revenue streams. And also look for the growth in Cash App, which you can now buy partial shares like you can on Robinhood. And so I love the optionality that Square has, and I'll take advantage of it tomorrow if it sells off on short-term earnings. Perfect. We're going to stick with our continued don't fight the Fed trade, and we're going to short the VIX and sell puts.
Okay, yeah, VIX is what, 32. Interesting stuff. Thank you for that. John Najarian, since we talked VIX there, what's your final trade?
It's Peloton, Judge. We've seen some upside call buying for the last 2 weeks, and so I'll be into this for the earnings tomorrow.
Gotcha. Jim Lebenthal, Pharma Jim.
Yeah, just doing a little trimming here, a little trimming of Google, not selling it outright, but trimming it to put the money in Electronic Arts, which reports after the close should be a big beneficiary of what's going on with COVID.
Driving the tractor over it. Stephanie Link.
So I'm adding to Twitter. The stock is down 11% on the year, down 28% from its highs. I thought the quarter was very good on engagement and audience growth, offset by advertising. I think advertising eventually comes back. You want to buy this stock here.